I'm Raquel Richards. Welcome to What Are You Drinking? Come sip with me for 5 to 10 minutes or more because we're celebrating Canada Day with a few iconic Canadian sips. Whether you're into alcohol or prefer non-alcoholic drinks, I've got something for you in this episode. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Please drink responsibly. First up, let's talk about a true Canadian classic, the Caesar. Invented in 1969 in Calgary, Alberta, which is in Canada, by Walter Schell. This cocktail is a twist on the Bloody Mary. Now, the Americans that are listening to this will know of the Bloody Mary. We know of it here in Canada, but we do a Caesar. So why is it a twist between the Bloody Mary and the Caesar? Well, the Bloody Mary, or Bloody Caesar, is made with tomato juice. The Caesar is made with Clamato juice. You can mix tomato juice and Clamato juice. However, here in Canada, we predominantly use Clamato juice. Why? Well, Clamato juice gives the Caesar its distinctive clam flavor. You might think, ooh, clam. No, trust me, it's delicious. Now, spice it up with hot sauce or Worcestershire sauce, rimmed with celery salt and garnished with a lime wedge and a crunchy celery stalk. Now, that's basic. That's just the basic way to do a Caesar. However, here in Canada, we like to go big with our Caesars. So what makes the Caesar so amazing is that it can be garnished with so many options. Think of pizza, cheese, a slider, a piece of clubhouse sandwich or two, watermelon, pickles, onions, hot peppers, grilled shrimp, scallops, and even a lobster tail. Yes, we love to make our Caesars big and garnish them with whatever, because here in Canada, we think of a Caesar as a liquid meal with the snacks around the rim. The spirit in the Caesar can be made with vodka, gin, or tequila. Those are the recommended ones. It's our national cocktail here in Canada. We drink it when we're hungover, for Sunday brunch, any day, or whenever, sitting on a patio. It is our national cocktail. For a non-alcoholic Caesar, guess what? The Caesar can be made with a virgin, and I like to drink these too. Just ask, I'd like a virgin Caesar, please. And you can make it yourself. You just omit the alcohol. Everything else is the same, just omit the alcohol. It's easy. Okay, so let's switch to a non-alcoholic drink. We'll get back to alcohol in a sec. Have you tried Spruce Beer? It's popular in Quebec, which is a province in Canada that is next to Ontario. It's made from spruce tree buds. It's got a refreshing herbal and slightly bittersweet taste. So what are spruce tree buds? Well, they come from the spruce tree species, which produces edible parts. The blue spruce or the Norway spruce are popular trees that produce spruce tree buds. Its flavor and quality may vary by species, season, and region. You can eat spruce tips raw, make syrups, tinctures, oil, tea, and of course, spruce beer pop. When I say spruce beer, I'm actually talking about the pop, which is a soft drink or a soda for those that are not from Canada listening in. Now, spruce beer, try to say that like really fast 5 times. Spruce beer was originally consumed by Indigenous peoples and early settlers for its vitamin C and medicinal properties. Spruce beer is a fascinating part of our Canadian heritage. Now, have I had it? No. Why? It's hard to find here in Toronto, Ontario. However, you may be able to find it in Kensington Market, which is an awesome artistic area in Toronto, known for its unique stores, coffee shops, and restaurants. So if you can find it, try it and let me know what you think. That is the Spruce Beer Pop, which you can find in Quebec. Now, no Canada Day celebration would be complete without mentioning Molson Canadian beer. Molson Canadian beer is one of Canada's most iconic beer brands. It was established in 1786 by John Molson, who hailed from Montreal, Quebec. It is one of North America's oldest breweries and has grown synonymous with Canadian identity and culture. The brand, Molson Canadian, was introduced in 1959 and quickly became a staple among Canadian beer enthusiasts. promoting itself as a clean, crisp lager that embodies the spirit of the Canadian outdoors. Molson Canadian got its name from its founder. Who did I say it was? John Molson. And the nation it represents, Canada Day. Canada Day. I'm so up on that. Canada. The brand appeals to Canadian national pride and identifies itself as the Canadian beer. So for my fellow Canadians, you may remember this, and this is just, it stands out in advertising history. So you may remember the famous I Am Canadian commercial. It featured a Canadian character named Joe. Joe, who is in this commercial, stands on a stage speaking into a mic with a Canadian flag in the background. He embarks on a rant about being Canadian and what Canadian means, distinctly setting apart Canadian identity from American or other stereotypes of us Canadians. This I Am Canadian campaign launched in 2000, 24 years ago. Damn. It was designed to promote Molson Canadian. The commercial became iconic and still is to this day. It is an award-winning ad. You can view the commercial via YouTube. I put the link in the show notes, so have a look and see it to refresh your memory or to see it for the first time. And if you're not Canadian, it just may debunk any stereotypes you may have about us Canadians. Here's a fun tip. I don't know if it's true. It's just heard through the rumor mill, okay, that the copywriter who wrote the I Am Canadian commercial, well, he was Glenn Hunt. That's a true story. He was a creative director at the advertising agency here in Toronto called Bennisman Brine. And rumor had it that he made so much money from this commercial, he traveled the world after this campaign. Like I said, that's alleged. I don't know if it's true. Glenn Hunt's contribution to the Molson Canadian brand through this I Am Canadian commercial remains one of the standout moments in Canadian advertising history, exemplifying how creative marketing can leave a lasting impact on both a brand and a country's cultural landscape. So let's turn to one of Canada's other greatest exports, ice wine. It's a dessert wine, and I do mean dessert as in sweet. It has upwards to can have over 100 grams of sugar in a little 200 ml bottle. Ice wine is produced from grapes that have been frozen while still on the vine. Ontario's Niagara Peninsula, with its perfect cold winter temperatures, is one of the world's largest producers of ice wine. It's lusciously sweet with flavors of ripe tropical fruits. So I'm going to give you a little bit of background on this famous ice wine. So here in Canada, ice wine production is regulated by specific laws, as our wines are, just like the EU as well. Ice wine grapes, they cannot be picked until the temperature drops to at least -8 degrees. That's 17 degrees Fahrenheit. However, the colder, the better. The grapes must be naturally frozen on the vine and harvested and pressed in a continuous process while the air temperature remains at or below -8. So the colder the better isn't really true. I just added that in because it sounded good. But seriously, the grapes must be naturally frozen on the vine and harvested and pressed in a continuous process while the air temperature remains at or below -8. The sugar level of the grapes at the time of harvest must reach a reading of at least 35 Brie. 1 degree Brie is equal to 1 gram of grape sugar. Otherwise, they can only be designated as special select late harvest or select late harvest wines. The grapes must also be attached to the vine until they are harvested. The production of ice wine often occurs around Christmas time or early January, as this is typically when the necessary freezing temperatures occur. Now, it makes me wonder with global warming how it's going to affect ice wine because our cold temperatures aren't so cold. But in the Niagara Peninsula, the temperatures pretty much will still be that for, I hope, a long time, but we'll see what happens. So I digress. Let's go back to ice wine. So ice wine is unique and it's a cherished product of Canada's wine industry. It's known for its intense flavors, rich bouquet, and smooth finish. It goes beautifully with desserts or strong cheeses. Now, when I worked at the LCBO, tourists would come in requesting ice wine to bring back to their country. Now, you can't drink ice wine like you do your white or your red. I mean, you can, but you may get sick or have the worst hangover ever. It's a dessert wine, and it is meant to be drunk in the appropriate glass, such as a dessert wine glass or a port glass, which means it's a small glass. You sip it. That's why it comes in 200 mils, because it's Very, very intense flavor and very, very sweet. It's just to be sipped and enjoyed. Going back to non-alcoholic drinks, the classic Canadian hot maple apple cider. It's warm, inviting, and oh so comforting. Made with pure Canadian maple syrup and fresh apple cider, this drink, I like to say, is a hug in a mug. It's perfect for those cooler evenings or just when you need a sweet pick-me-up. However, if you want your hot maple cider hard, it pairs well with a variety of spirits that complement its warm, sweet, and fruity flavors. I'm going to give you a list and the reasons why. So, rum. Opt for a dark rum or spiced rum, though, because it adds a rich caramel-like sweetness that enhances the maple and apple flavors. The spices in a dark rum, like cinnamon and vanilla, meld perfectly with the cider. Bourbon. Yes, bourbon. Bourbon's notes of vanilla, caramel, and oak lend a robust depth to the cider, making it a popular choice for a comforting, slightly boozy drink. Brandy. Apple brandy in particular. It is a fantastic match as it intensifies the flavor in the cider. Regular brandy also works well, adding a smooth and slightly fruity undertone. Whiskey. A good Canadian whiskey can add a complex layer of flavors to hot maple apple cider, including smoky or woodsy notes, a smoother addition than heavier bourbons or scotches. Just add ice, not too much so you don't weaken the maple. There you have it. Whether you're sipping on a Caesar by the lake, enjoying a glass of ice wine at a dinner party, or cozying up with some hot maple apple cider on a cool summer night, these drinks are a fantastic way to celebrate Canada Day. Happy Canada Day to my fellow Canadians. Check out What Are You Drinking on Instagram at @what_are_you drinking. The R is the letter R. I'm Raquel Richards. Thanks for sipping with me. Happy Canada Day.